Do you want to know how time-tested traditions can improve your vitality and longevity in midlife? Today I'm sharing Nordic secrets that promote energy, health, and resilience. These are habits that have stood the test of time and can make a big difference in your life. Welcome to episode 3 of my Natural Wellness Guide for Women Over 50. If you missed the first 2 episodes, be sure to check them out because they lay the foundation for health. Midlife, 50, 55 and beyond, is a great time of life, but it can also have its challenges, right? And I found the best way to navigate this time of life is to just feel the most energized and vital that I can. The simplicity of Nordic living has some of the ancient secrets for longevity and vitality, which I think is something that most of us are looking for. I'm going to go through 4 different pillars that I think are really important for health and longevity in a way that we all want, which is to be strong and healthy for as long as possible. And those I have grabbed from the Nordic way of life, especially from my country of birth, which is Finland. Nordic diets are all about simplicity and seasonality. Now, some, like my husband, might call it boring, but I beg to differ. Eating what's available in nature at different times of the year, I think, really promotes a feeling of wellness. We have a lot of things that we eat with the seasons. We eat mushrooms, we eat berries, we eat a lot of root vegetables, we eat a lot of rye. And all the things that we eat and the different traditional foods that we make have been passed down for centuries because those were the things that were able to sustain, thrive, and be able to be produced. This simple way of eating isn't about fancy meals. It's about things that nourish your body, and that's what's really important. And I think if we look at that for some inspiration, we would all be eating seasonally throughout the year. I think that also helps because you're eating foods closer to the time of harvesting versus things that may have sat in some cold freeze somewhere and probably slowly losing some of the potency. So eating during the seasons is a way of getting more of the nutrients into your body that your body really needs. Every culture also has their different types of fermented foods that they have learned over the years and centuries to know are really good. Fermented foods really help your gut microbiome. One of the foods that I grew up eating is called viili. It's a fermented dairy product. When she came to visit us here in Canada, she would bring a starter. I can't even describe the taste of it. It's somewhere between sour cream and a plain yogurt or Greek yogurt. And we didn't eat it with a lot of different toppings, maybe a little bit of sprinkle of sugar on it. It was a very popular food, at least when I was young and while my grandmother was alive in Finland, and I know they still sell it in the grocery stores. But viili is Finland's fermented food. Different nationalities, like for instance in Korea, they have different fermented foods that they love. They eat their kimchi and their black bean stuff. I think it's called, natto. It's not my favorite. Kimchi's good though. The Germans have their sauerkraut. There's all kinds of fermented foods that different nationalities have learned that are really beneficial to their health. So that's something that you can add to your diet. Eat some type of fermented food, whether it's just some sauerkraut or a little bit of kimchi, natto if you're into that. All kinds of things that have those good bacteria that will help your microbiome. Then the other thing is that Nordic cultures eat a lot of fish, and in Finland we eat a lot of fish. And it's funny because I was not a fish fan growing up. I did not care for fish. I especially hated it if I had any of the bones that were left in the fish and I ended up with one in my mouth. That was the end of it for me always. So the fish are really important, especially fatty fish, for your intake of omega-3s. Those support your brain health, your cardiovascular system, and if you're plant-based, you can get them from algae oil like I do. And as long as you're getting those nutrients into your body, whether it's from fatty fish or algae oil, then that's beneficial for your health, and that's something we can adopt from the Nordic countries. I have really good memories, and then I have memories of my grandmother and my mom coming at us with a big tablespoonful of some yucky fishy oil that we had to take. And that was a given. It was just the way we grew up. And those are things that have been passed down for so long, and they know they are beneficial, whether there were studies for them or not. Of course, we're studying everything now, and we're realizing, yes, that is why they have done this for centuries. Nature and outdoor life. In Nordic countries like Finland, being outdoors starts from infancy. And I have mentioned this before. Nordic countries put their babies out in the little prams, all bundled up to have their naps. I have pictures of me in a pram outside having my nap. That's what you do because they knew fresh air, being around plants and trees is really good for your health. There is no bad weather except bad clothing. And kids from daycare, from early school age years, all are dressed to go outside in the weather. Whether it's the darkness of winter, they're going outside to play. The connection to nature is ingrained in Finnish people because they know the importance of it on our health, for our mental health, reducing stress, which then in turn helps reduce inflammation in our bodies. And really, it does a huge, big improvement on mental wellness because it improves your mood and boosts your happy hormones. And you can't talk about being outdoors without talking about sauna. The sauna culture has been in Finland for centuries. Sauna is not just for relaxation, though, it's for detoxification and stress reduction. Sauna has been going on since the beginning of time in Finland, and babies have been born in saunas, and people have passed away in saunas. That doesn't sound good, but it's a ritual. It's a place where people gather, and it is still going strong in Finland. Love being in the sauna, and now the whole world is adopting the sauna culture, which is great because they're finding out the really important benefits of having a sauna. Then there's also the opportunity, if you're able to jump into a cold lake when you're out of the sauna. I'm not good at the jumping into the lake part of it, but the sauna I love, especially with a good vihta and lulu. It's beautiful. You feel so good and relaxed after that. All you want to do is eat some nice yummy food and then just relax. You would think that being in a hot room like that with steam might not be good for somebody, but they have studied this well, and now they know that it really does help with your cardiovascular system. And I think a lot of the culture and the traditions of Finland may have not always been the healthiest. And I think because of the way they looked after themselves, otherwise it helped alleviate the damage they did with other things that they did to their bodies that weren't as healthy. I talked about that in the last video about how there's so many spokes in the wheel of your life. If you're letting them all fall apart, the wheel will collapse. But if you're looking after several of them, hopefully all of them, then the wheel is nice and strong. So sauna has been a part of everybody's life almost in Finland forever. So it is one of the things that keeps boosting you up, even if you don't look after everything else as well. Now, because sauna culture is such a huge thing in North America, a lot of people have access to sauna. So I highly recommend, if you ever want to try this Nordic tradition, give it a try. You may like it. I prefer it so much more to hot tubs and things like that. And swimming pools, I don't like sitting in a pool where everybody else is sitting. I don't know, it's the germaphobe in me. I would much rather have hot sauna, the steam, the nice smell of the birch leaves, and then have a cold shower or jump in a lake afterwards. Then there's another aspect, especially of the Finnish culture, that is important. It is called sisu. And it's a word that's hard to translate so that you actually get the full understanding of what that means. But Finnish people have sisu. It's strength, perseverance through hard times, and the not giving up and just pushing yourself forward no matter what. That is what sisu means. Sisu is a word that I actually used years ago. I had a soap company. I made natural soaps from all really nice nourishing oils and used only essential oils in them. And my company was called Sisu Soap Company. Anyways, that's a little tidbit about me. But sisu is what has allowed Finland to stand and be the country that it is, with the geography of where it sits in the world. There's been a lot of battles it's fought, but it's persevered and it's hung in there, and it's a strong, healthy, happy country. So how can we apply sisu in midlife? It's about perseverance. It's about pushing through the hard times, which a lot of women do, right? You do that, I do that. And it's sometimes very hard. So you probably have a little bit of that Finnish sisu in you, that perseverance, not giving up, and just pushing forward no matter how hard things can get. Mindfulness and minimalism. The Nordic lifestyle is about simplicity, and that doesn't just apply to food. And some may think it's minimalism. It is, in a sense. It's about simplicity to alleviate and get rid of chaos around you. It's in your spaces where you live. It's mental clutter. Basically, it gives you some room for peace and clarity. The Finnish people are well known for personal space. They understand solitude is important. And there are a lot of funny memes and things out there about Finnish people, about not wanting to do small talk and not getting too close to them in an elevator or on a bench outside. It's funny, but it's true. My daughter was recently in Japan, and the Japanese people have a similar kind of mindset. They don't want to be intrusive and in your space. They know personal space is very valuable and very important. And I think all of us can take a little bit of that, whether it's listening to our phone call on our speaker really loudly when there are people around, or just not oversharing or getting in somebody's personal space in their face when you're talking to them. I think all of us can do that. And then we can do that in our homes. We can eliminate some of the clutter. There's a lot of videos out there on how to declutter and get rid of junk, on minimalism, things like that. And I don't think you have to become completely stark and bare where you live. But I know, and I've said this before in other videos, that when you have this clutter around you, it causes real confusion and chaos in your brain, and you cannot really think clearly. It was so evident to me and us when our mother was in the throes of Alzheimer's, how the chaos around her increased as she became more demented. Even for me, I don't want to sit at a table with just junk all over it. So it makes such a huge difference, and we can all adopt some of that Nordic simplicity and a little bit of that minimalism, just so that we feel like we have more space to breathe and think clearly. And of course, it's all about slowing down and doing a lot of walking and spending time in nature. All those types of things help with your mental clutter, and those help with your stress levels. And mindfulness doesn't have to be about meditating. You can just have quiet walks outside, be in nature, having quiet, simple meals at home with your family, slowing down and just being present in the moment, making your space cozy. Like in Finland, in the cold, dark winters, I don't know, they just have a knack for making their homes so cozy with their lighting and comforting and just welcoming. And I think that's the way we can all nurture ourselves. It's just eliminating the clutter in our lives, making our lives more cozy, our homes more cozy. And I think people will actually see the benefits of it. At least I feel the benefit of it when I have less clutter around me. Nordic healthcare. So this isn't something we can actually all adopt, but they have more focus on prevention and not reacting to illness. There's a lot of education about health. They have universal health care in Finland. It's similar in Canada. We may pay higher taxes, but we all get to have health care. I would say, just from my experience, and this may not be everybody's experience, we in Canada here do not do preventative health care. We have free universal health care, but we're not educating about wellness like they do in Nordic countries. So that's the difference. And there is no strings attached. One of the things that we found really interesting in the last few years when we went to Finland, because our homeless population homeless with mental health issues and addictions has grown hugely here in Canada. We went there and we're going, where are all the homeless people? Because that they had a change years ago where they provided mental health care and addiction care without any strings attached, and they provided homes for these people. Anyways, that's a different topic, but how can we take that example and use it in our lives? It's prevention. It's basically prevention and educating yourself on health so that you're not reacting to a condition as it turns up. So that's why Nordic healthcare is so good. Finland's comprehensive prevention and supports provide care without strings attached. And this is one of the reasons why Finland ranks as one of the healthiest countries in the world, because of the preventative healthcare that they provide universally. So we can adopt some of this by looking after ourselves, educating ourselves on our well-being to keep us out of the hospitals, no matter if they're free or not. You still don't want to end up in there, but you also have a higher chance of better recovery if you've been looking after your health. So we can take that little bit from the Nordic countries as an example of what we should do. By incorporating some of these simple Nordic traditions into our lives, being mindful of others, outdoor time, sauna rituals if you have the luxury of that, and embracing resilience like sisu, we can all enhance our longevity and vitality, which is so important. These practices have stood the test of time, and they're just as valuable now as they were for our ancestors. Which Nordic practice resonates the most with you? Let me know in the comments. And if you haven't seen my previous videos on the healing power of nature, I'm going to link a playlist in the description for you. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Have a great week. Bye.